50 there'll be more plastic in the ocean than fish. But how does that impact you and me? How does that impact our health and well-being? According to the recent scientific reports, plastic microns have made their way into the placenta, the womb of a mother. Plastic microns have entered the bloodstream of babies. So plastic has permeated everything. So, which is why it's so important for the tourism industry and its stakeholders to become cognizant of the fact that, you may reduce plastic, but until we completely stop using plastic or become responsible for the plastic waste that is generated, it's going to continue to impact human health. And if it's made its way into our clouds, because apparently it's raining plastic microns, and it's made its way into the womb of a mother and the bloodstream of babies, then it's time to change. We can't go on with business as usual. This is why behavior change from the Travel for Life program, urging tourists and tourism businesses to mainstream sustainability into the sector, can make a big difference. Travel for Life, of course, like I said, was launched in September 23, but it's upon us, the entire industry and individuals and stakeholders, to truly adopt it and take it the distance that it needs to be taken. So I encourage all of you to understand and implement every action point that Travel Life suggests, and of course be mindful of the fact that a healthy environment leads to healthy human beings, and that then of course leads to peace, progress and economic growth. And without a healthy planet and a healthy environment, we can't hope for any of these. Thank you for having me. I had a lot more to talk about, but I know you're all hungry and would like to go for lunch. So I'm going to step into a Q&A that this is going to be followed by. And I'm also going to take a moment to thank the Maharashtra Tourism Department and of course the state government for truly making sustainability a part of the focus of the Mumbai Festival. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Ria. I know that you are on a very, very tight schedule, and you've been very kind enough to give us a little more time, even though we were running late over here, and thank you for that.
My pleasure, absolute pleasure.
Thanks.
See, every chance we get to talk about the sustainable development goals, we must take it. We just have to.
And that's what I see. I see that, and I follow your work so much. And I know that sustainability is literally, if it could be in your DNA, it is in your DNA. And is that something that you were just born, sometimes we say, was she born with it?
No, Frisha, sustainability is not a catchphrase. It's not, I'm glad it's becoming a cool word to use, but it should not be used lightly. And it's a word that I think should become intrinsic to our behavior and an understanding of life itself. And it's interesting, we belong to a country that has so much wisdom and knowledge and understanding of what it means to live in peace and in harmony and in balance with nature. And that's what sustainability is, it's nothing else. Sustainability is a basic understanding that all that provides life comes from the earth. And we must, as human beings, consume with respect and awareness and consciousness of that. And that's what changes everything. I remember when I was a child and we were in school, I went to a beautiful school called Vidyaranya, which translates to Forest of Education. And we were told about how excessive consumption was leading to degradation and pollution and destruction of the environment. And I'm talking about the 80s, when this topic was not so cool. It was probably not even being, this conversation was not being had. The first alarm bells for climate change just started to ring. So it's taken almost 40 years for most of the world to acknowledge that, oh, climate change is real. Of course, there are still people who believe it's not. But climate तो बदलता ही रहता है. But in school, we were made to understand that that pencil that we use comes from a wood that comes from a tree, and that when we are wasteful and unthinking in how we use it, and we throw it away easily, then we are being disrespectful to everything that the earth provides. It's a small action, but I think it's that knowledge or that understanding or that concept that is so powerful that is percolated into life. And like everyone else, I think at some point I realized that, the idea of well-being or happiness can be two things. One can be totally driven by economics, so the pursuit of money, and then you realize that no, actually the things that support peace, harmony, goodwill, well-being and health is the very opposite. Of course, money is important, and we must all earn money so that we can afford the needs of our life. But then, so long as greed is for good things and just and fair practices, then it's okay. But most often, a capitalist mindset where your pursuit to grow is only linked to money and is not linked to well-being and peace and progress and equality and all the other goals, then there's a big problem. And that's why we find ourselves where we are in our world today.
I know that you just gave an example to everybody about your traveling bottle. And I just want to let everyone in the audience know that I know that that is just one of the many, many things that you do as not as a person that only leads a sustainable lifestyle, but also maybe if you can inspire everybody with also your sustainable travel. So if we can also delve at a personal level, like everything that you also do so that you can inspire people in the audience. When we hear it, we get ideas.
Absolutely. I mean, so one of the things that I do is I don't fly business or first unless it's a flight timing beyond 8 hours. So that is a significant shift in mindset, and also impacts your carbon footprint. The other thing to do, of course, is to support local craft, local goods, eat local, eat seasonal, and of course choose places to stay that are, have put in sustainability practices and measures. So they're managing their waste, they're harvesting water, they're powering with solar, they're shifting to clean energy. There's, those are some of the checkpoints that I want to make when I'm choosing my travel itinerary. And then of course, slow travel is wonderful. I love to travel by road, engage and interact with local communities. And in doing that, not only do you expand your own individual wealth as a person through the experience that offers you, but it also then empowers locals in every region and gives them so much more. These are some of the steps. And of course, the basic, my God, how could I forget? Refuse all single-use plastics, carry your own bottle. I carry my own cutlery in my handbag. I have my own traveling mug. So I never have to take a disposable mug anywhere I go. So, for whether it's tea or coffee on the go or it's water, you're always equipped.
And I can say this at a very personal level. I have taken a sneak peek into the Amirza's bag, and she truly does travel with all of that in that bag. And now that we're talking about travel and coming at a more personal level also with the travel that you do, would it be fair for me to say that you probably visited every wildlife sanctuary that we have in our country? Because probably have.
No, that's on my bucket list. Thankfully, we still are, despite being the most populous nation in the world, we still have the world's largest tiger population, the world's largest Asiatic lion population, the world's largest one-horned rhino population, and we have the most incredible biodiversity in our country. I mean, look at us living in Mumbai. We share our city with flamingos, we share our city with leopards, we share our city with over 250 bird species. We have the Sanjay Gandhi National Park, which is almost in the heart of the city. So we coexist with biodiversity. And I remember even during the lockdown, we had dolphins that could be spotted from the gateway. And I think that there is such an incredible, vast natural heritage in our nation that must be explored and discovered. And I've managed to visit over 9 wildlife sanctuaries in India. But you know, Frisha, we have over 100.
Oh, I didn't.
Yes, we have over 100 wildlife sanctuaries in India. And that is only, so that's just 25% forest cover remaining. There was a time where India had uninterrupted forest cover and much more forest cover. So what's left is only 25%, of which 5% is dense forest. And this is what is providing us our fresh water. This is what is regulating our climate. This is what is making our air cleaner and offsetting our emissions. And so it is our absolute urgent responsibility to protect and secure this existing natural heritage. And of course, if we can add to it, we must.
And
You can clap. Why are you all being so hesitant? Go for it.
go for it. Let's also talk a little bit about visual representation having so much impact on inspiring people and, of course, setting them on a sustainable path. And I know that with Ganga, Soul of India, the show that you had done, and also in your latest movie, Dhak Dhak, in which you're fantastic. Not only did you learn how to ride a bike, but also in one of the scenes you're shown over there picking up plastic waste. And let's talk a little bit about...
And carrying my own bottle.
Yeah.
So this one's made a film debut as well now. So it's been seen on the big screen as well. You know, Frisha, when we're talking about behavioral change, that's like the key thing, right? Of course, we all say stakeholders need to change, governments need to change, policies need to get implemented. We all know that the 21 items plastic ban in India, while it has been announced by the Prime Minister of our country, very few states are able to actually implement the ban on the ground. So then that kind of ties back into behavioral change. There is nothing more powerful than the visual. When people see more people behave a certain way, more people will adopt that behavior. So today, when I started traveling with my metal bottle 8 years ago, very few people even understood the concept of want. And everybody would look at me and say, isn't it inconvenient? Like, why would you carry that weight around? I was like, my God, this weight takes off so much weight that I would be burdened by in my conscience if I didn't carry this bottle around. And today, when I go to an airport, I go to a railway station, I go to a bus stop, I go to a shopping mall, I go anywhere, I see more and more people carrying their own bottles, and it's a win. Because when people see more people behave a certain way, they adopt that change. So visual is everything. Storytelling is everything. What people will see, they will do.
I would love it. Do you think you could ever put a number to maybe the number of plastic bottles you offsetted just by making this one?
Yeah, I just shared it in my speech. Maybe you missed it. Over 70,000 bottles.
70,000 plastic bottles.
I actually
getting
do a very
offset.
interesting visualization exercise. Our time's up, but I'm going to quickly do it before we end this session.
Sure.
So with children, I do this. What's the first item of plastic that you use in your day? Huh? Toothbrush. How many toothbrushes do you average in a year? Apart from the ones that you possibly use every time you go to a hotel and you pull out a new one. If you travel a lot and you don't carry your own toothbrush when you're traveling, you possibly do that. But let's omit that extra number. Let's go with the basic number of toothbrushes you use in your life in a year. 4?
4? Okay. How many, what do you expect your lifespan to be? With the pollution. Let's reduce it by 20 years, but still, optimistically, how long do you think you'll live? Huh? 75 is your average lifespan? Okay. So what age did you start using toothbrushes at? 2, 2.5? Chalo, let's assume 2. From the age of 2 to the age of 75, you used 4 toothbrushes a year. How many toothbrushes have you used in your life? Come on, somebody's got to be good at math because I'm not.
6,000.
Huh? 800?
300 कैसा होएगा भाई?
But it's much more. It's 800 and something. I've done this many times before. Yeah, it can't be 300. So just imagine, just total 800 toothbrushes in one person's life. That's just one item of plastic that is never going to be recycled, that is going to take 800 years to break down, but it's never going to go anywhere. It's going to remain in the environment. And this is just one item of plastic that you're using every day in your life. That is the power of visualization. If we can draw our mental attention towards everything that we use in our life every day and ask of ourselves, ये कहाँ से आ रहा है? ये कैसे बना है? और ये कहाँ जाएगा? और जब वो वहाँ पहुँच जाएगा तो ये कैसे natural environment को और मेरे health को affect करेगा? If the answer is a positive answer, then use it. If the answer is in the negative, stop it. I've switched to bamboo toothbrushes. I'm actually now thinking of going back to Datu.
I know that you're in a very big hurry, but this is one last question before we let you go. Really, really quick one. When you travel as a family, I've also seen that you have shown your children the biggest theme park that exists on this planet, which is jungles, forests. How can you also maybe encourage everybody that is sitting over here and encourage them to make more eco-travel places like that and visit more eco-travel places like that, and of course in a more sustainable way?
So the most important, there are 3 aspects to that answer. One is that until and unless each and every one of us discovers our innate connection to the natural world, we are not going to learn to protect the natural world. We have to understand that connection, that our health is connected to the health of the environment, that our existence is entirely dependent on the planetary health of, the world that we live in. That's number 1. Number 2, and our children, the more we encourage them to engage with nature, interact with nature, spend time in nature, that understanding and that learning and knowledge will come automatically. You will have to do very little. We take CEOs into the forest and they don't only have mind shift changes, their hearts change. Suddenly from being polluters, they become protectors. So that is the power of nature. The second aspect to that answer is how can one of the biggest drivers to achieving the sustainable development goals is engaging with local communities and empowering local communities. So it is not only an immersive cultural experience, but it's also an experience of empathy. It's something that encourages young people and young minds to discover that there are different kinds of people in our world who have different ways of living. So when I take them into the mountains, I ensure they are going in and engaging and meeting the farmers, the agriculturists, the teachers. They're going to the local schools. They're meeting the local school children. They're seeing them sit down and eating their midday meal. They're seeing how hard it is for people to make a living. And they are discovering the inequity that we are surrounded by. And it propels them to ask of themselves, how can I change this? What can I do? What innovation, what solution, what sacrifice can I make even as a child, to make a healthier contribution to my country and my world. Yeah, those are two important points. The third one, I mean, is not as important, but the third one really is that there is nothing more powerful than experience. The richest form of education is experience, and travel offers us that. Of course, we can travel even through books, but to physically meet people, engage with communities, and see life and be evidenced of the reality. Like I remember a big switch happening in my mind when I did Ganga, the Soul of India. I traveled from Gaumukh to Ganga Sagar, and along the way, all I saw was ravines of plastic. And I was like, this has to change. How can I change it? I have to stop using plastic. So I think that's the third and the most important aspect. Yeah,
Dia, thank you.
I can go on forever.
But I can see your manager also looking at me because I know you've been so kind enough to, and I know that we've overextended over here with you. And
Everyone's very hungry. I'd like to have lunch.
also that I'm going to quickly end with something that you quoted that I read very recently, where you said that the longest and the toughest journey that you will ever make is one that you will make from your mind to your heart. And I think today you've inspired and you've touched everybody's hearts over here in our audience, and you've really shown us the true heart of sustainability.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you so
thank you.
much.
Thank you, Subhas. Thank you, Mumbai Festival, for having me. All the best to all of us. I promise you, there is nothing more powerful than partnerships. I'm right here, waiting to support you and help you. Let's make the change that we have to together. Thank you.
I would strongly encourage our audience, please do bear with us. Ladies and gentlemen, we have one more very quick and very enlightening session that we are going to jump into. So I would request our audience members, please don't vacate. Bear with us because our next panelist also has a flight to catch, and he's been kind enough to stay with us right here in this room.